Attention, fans of Unfinished Business Television, we're thrilled to announce our proud partnership with Super 7, the ultimate destination for collectors and pop culture enthusiasts alike. Visit super74.com/AJEPYX today. Use promo code AJEPYX, and let's keep the good times rolling here at Unfinished Business Television.
Los Angeles, 2007.
The mystical powers of the dragon are dangerous for one person to possess.
Power.
All right, so where's the on button?
Justice.
It's our responsibility to protect the dragon.
Darkness.
This is only half. Find me the other half.
Light.
Let's kick some butt.
Double. Dragon. Double Dragon. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
Hey, folks, what are you doing? Of course, you're here to watch us at Unfinished Business Television with a new episode in the Deep Dive. I am your host, Jeff Galshaw, at Unfinished B1. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Andre Joseph of AJ Epics Productions.
Now who's the boss, bitch?
Yes, who is? This week, we are going to be talking about the video game or the cinematic video game adaptation from 1994, Double Dragon, directed by James Yukich and starring Scott Wolf, Mark Dacascos, Robert Patrick, and Alyssa Milano. Andre, this was your pick. So you explain why you picked this film, and I guess why you wanted to talk about this movie.
So, okay, Double Dragon. I'm going to take you back to the late 80s. My mom had gotten me a Nintendo Entertainment System when the prices dropped in 1988. And where she worked at the time, she had a coworker that gave her some of my first games that I ever played. One was obviously the Nintendo came with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, but I had Section Z, I had Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and I had the original Double Dragon as the NES game. So I played that quite a bit. Never got to beat it, unfortunately, but I played it on other platforms as well. I played in the arcades, I played on the PC, and I've even played the sequels that came out on Nintendo and Super Nintendo over the years. Now, this was still the era where video game movies were flat out horrible, and we were just coming off of Super Mario Brothers, and Street Fighter was about to come out the month before this movie that we're talking about today. The first time I heard there was even a Double Dragon movie was in GamePro, which I used to be subscribed to. And they showed pictures of Scott Wolf and Mark Dacascos as Billy and Jimmy Lee during the scene when they were on the boats, and the shot of Robert Patrick playing the villain. So the way that the pictures looked, it seemed like it was going to be a serious action movie. Because if you played the game, it's a beat 'em up. It's very brutal. The first moments of the game, these guys kidnap Marion, they punch her in the stomach, they grab her, and then you got to go and you got to rescue her. You're fighting this big steroid dude, a Bobo. You're fighting this woman, Linda, with her lashing whip. So you're expecting like a hard R-rated movie. And then I saw this probably the opening weekend with my dad and my friend Alex from my neighborhood. And oh boy, just the simple fact that this was a PG-13 kids movie starring the kid from Party of Five and the lovely Alyssa Milano, that already told you what kind of movie we were getting ourselves into. And the fact that it was set in a strange dystopian future where nobody can be outside past a certain hour or else the police show up. You have the toxic air. You have Robert Patrick as a slimy villain. This was very much a tongue-in-cheek kids movie that's just so flat out cheesy. It's probably been spoofed by everybody from the angry video game nerd to the nostalgia critic and everybody else you ever see online. But I decided to tackle it because it was on Tubi recently. I needed something to write for my job collider. So I figured, you know what? I haven't seen this movie in a while. Let me take a look at it again. And yeah, it has not aged well. And I knew it was already bad with all the bad puns and references, and even Robert Patrick looking like he lost a bet or something. Because that last line at the end was like, "You think I'm bad? Wait till you see my lawyer." I thought he was like talking legit. Like, I'll get my lawyer to sue the people that got me involved in this movie. um, yeah, it has not aged well, but I will say, listen, that was also my introduction to Mark Dacascos before he became like the staple of every martial arts movie that goes straight to cable and had his chef show on the Food Network. So there's that, but otherwise, yeah, that this was leaves a bad taste in my mouth, even more so than Street Fighter did. Check out our Steve D'Souza interview to explain what happened there. Jeff, what's your experience with Double Dragon?
I managed to avoid this movie up until this week. I knew it existed. I remember it coming out because I remember Alyssa Milano with her dyed blonde short hair, and Scott Wolf was like the heartthrob at the time, and this was his first big starring role. And I'm like, and he picked this of all things. Um, I didn't know who Mark Dacascos was when it came out. I really didn't know who Mark Dacascos was until I saw the movie Drive with Kadeem Hardison, which is way better than this. This film makes DOA, the volleyball video game movie, look good.
Oh my
Because
god, yeah.
at least that movie had style. This feels like it could have taken place in the same world as Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Because I don't get the big steroid dude. Like they pump him full of this. You think he's gonna be a fierce warrior. Then you resurrect him towards the end to be their buddy. I was like, that's stupid. Scott Wolf fails in every scene of fight choreography because I never believed he could fight in this film. Even the fights, sometimes it was literally them just pushing each other, and that counts as a hit. So I was like, this movie is stupid. Mark Dacascos sprained his ankle first day of the movie and wrapped it himself and still did all the action sequences. And he's still more believable in the action sequences than Scott Wolf. In fact, the only person I liked in the whole film was Robert Patrick because he seems to know what type of movie he's in. Plus, look at that hair. It's like
Yeah, evil Vanilla Ice.
I was like, that's impressive in of itself. But yeah, like the third act, yeah, that's when they really start packing on the one-liner. Like there's a comedy writer in back who's like, finally, you can go crazy with the script. So it's bad. It is shitty. It's um yeah, Robert Patrick was the only thing I liked. Why was, like, Vanna White and George, uh, Hamilton in this movie?
Yeah, that
Uh,
was like the dumbest thing. And then they said like whoever was a celebrity was like the governor of the state or the president. I mean, well, look at today. But it just was so absurd to where, it's as if this guy didn't even play the game. He probably just watched The Wizard and thought, oh yeah, kids like video games, so let's aim for that audience. And what you end up getting is not like if the I would have been afraid this guy did like a Streets of Rage or a Final Fight movie because then there probably would be riots in the theater. Double Dragon, had a cartoon at the same time, which was more serious than this
oh,
film,
jeez.
right?
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
it has Andy Dick as a weatherman. Andy Dick playing himself as a weatherman. I'm just like, that's the level of wit this movie has. And I mean, all the gangs look like they came from a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. And, like, all the colors, the looks,
Yeah.
even whatever his name, Bobo's, like, skinny right-hand man who played Gary on freaking Weird Science, the series, you know,
Mhm.
and they bring him back in the middle of the film for no real reason, And I'm just like, this movie is just, oh my, like, this is one of those movies where even, it, it felt like a Roger Corman movie where it's like, we're going to lose the rights, so we got to do something. That's how bad this movie was. And I mean, oh, even Robert Patrick's paper, whatever he turns into, that
Oh
reminded
yeah.
it reminded me of Malcolm McDowell in Tank Girl with his holographic head. And except Tank Girl still did it better. Um, yeah, this movie, and the thing that kills me, the director has gone on to direct many television series. But like
Yeah.
this debut, this movie was shit. The only other thing I liked was that the long-haired Asian guy with a mustache who usually plays an
Oh
assassin with
yeah.
no lines is in this film. So I was like, "Oh, at least he's here with his twin." You know. And then that stupid ending with them Will Hench for a ride, and I'm just like, "Seriously?" That shows you the level of wit of this movie. Like, no, this was so bad. In the middle of it, I had to take a break because it was that bad. I had to walk away, clear my head before I could continue with the shit that is this movie. This makes trauma movies look good. That's how bad this film is. Like, this movie's so bad, I took it personally. It's like that is how bad. And I have played Double Dragon, the video game, and I enjoy it. Streets of Rage, anything that was early Nintendo, I played. So, and it's even more insulting. I'll admit, I don't remember playing Double Dragon that, like memory or the character or the story behind it. But even playing that would have been better than watching this piece of shit. It's
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, listen, this is a movie that, given where we were in the early 90s, where you had all these Van Damme, Steven Seagal movies, a Dwight Little or Sheldon Lettich could have kicked ass with this film, but instead they go and they hire a music video director who's done mostly Phil Collins and Michael Jackson videos, among others, and decides to take the approach, and I'm quoting this, to make them kids on an adventure so kids aren't afraid to see these kids on this adventure, and I wanted to make it light and funny. That's not Double Dragon, goddammit. Double Dragon is people kicking ass, and there's no filter because you have 2 guys beating up on women in here too. Not that I am all for that, I'm not, but that was the '80s, and we're going into early '90s. We weren't necessarily politically correct just yet, okay? You could have made this an edgy film, and instead you just decided to take everything under the sun that was considered friendly for kids. Like, just slap the Nickelodeon logo, you wouldn't tell the difference.
I'm shocked it was even PG-13. This seemed more PG. And it's surprising that Paul Dini came up with the story for this film.
Yeah,
Who's behind
Batman, the animated series.
exactly. And like you said, like freaking Robot Jocks had better production values than this
Yeah.
film. There's a throwback for you guys. Um, the only time this film gets risque is when Alyssa Milano bends over and goes into the tunnel, and the guys look at each other. That's as risky as this film gets. I don't know why she needed to dye her hair. Um, and I don't know why they needed to let us know, like, the kid who plays her little brother in this film is her real little brother. Good for him. He didn't have much to do. And while the father and sister are out, where the fuck is this kid? He's like 12 years old. And the woman who was protecting them at the beginning, was that their mother? Their aunt? What the fuck?
Yeah, Julia Nixon from Rambo, she is, I believe, the adopted mother of the 2 boys. And it's just so weird, like, I never really figured out that connection, and, yeah, she gets her ass handed to her, takes the sacrifice plate so that they don't, put the metal medallions together. Yeah, and then that whole weird thing when they finally get the medallions together at the end, and then she pops up, like, it goes everybody's just looking and staring at her like, "What? Are we
Uh,
high right now?"
they are from that toxic air they've been breathing in throughout this whole film. I mean, and not to mention, considering she makes them do all the fighting, how is she protecting them? It's it's like this movie makes no sense. It's like, wow, this is bad. This is something Eddie Murphy would take a paycheck for now. And he'd still have as much fun as Robert Patrick was having. And Robert Patrick actually defends his performance in this film,
Yeah.
saying he thinks he did a good job. And he did it as a favor to the producer because he said it sounded like fun. Like I said, I wouldn't mind his character being in a totally different movie that I could enjoy. But it's not like I'm ever going to go back and watch this just to see his performance. I still think he should have kept that hairdo for at least a few movies, though. Because I'm just
Yeah.
like, how blonde can you get? Especially when you see him as like a rustic old man now. And it's like he was the epitome of style in the 90s. So yeah, I absolutely hated this movie.
Yeah, it definitely marked the downfall of the Double Dragon franchise because I think they were up to the fourth game around this time for the Super Nintendo. And the fifth one was just a straight up fighting game where they actually put Robert Patrick's character in it as the final boss. But we were spared a game that was going to be in the style of Mortal Kombat and that terrible Street Fighter the movie game where they actually had the actors mocapped to do like a Mortal Kombat style Double Dragon game. It was going to come out for the Neo Geo, and I think, yeah, Mark Dacascos and Scott Wolf, they did their own mocap, and probably Robert Patrick as well. It was supposed to come out on PlayStation, and it got scrapped because this movie was just such a piece of shit.
I
Also,
would
Scott Wolf was engaged to Alyssa Milano at this time, and it didn't last, thank God.
Yeah, because they have this weird like, I thought it was gonna be Scott Wolf and Alyssa Milano, love interest in this film, but then at the end, they play up this, "Oh, she's kind of interested in flirting with both of them," and it's just like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it was a last minute thing. It never doesn't make any sense. I mean, the only thing about Alyssa Milano is besides her bending over in that one part, her tank top is very tight, so you see her full figure. That's the only nice part, and she has a beautiful smile.
And how old were these characters supposed to be?
That's a good question too. They look like they're like 25, 27. They're playing like they're 17.
Exactly, because with Alyssa Milano, like, "Don't tell dad I snuck out." I'm like, is she still on Who's the Boss?
Yeah,
And it's
where's
like,
Tony Danza to play the cop?
he would take it at that point. Is Angela. But yeah, this movie, well, I can tell you if that Double Dragon game would have came out, I would have picked Mark Dacascos' character all the time. Because again, Scott Wolf's character sucks at fighting. So you would have automatically kept getting your ass beat in the game if you picked his character. Now, if they would have put Alyssa Milano's character as a choice, then maybe I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna definitely play this. But yeah, I'm sorry. This was horrible.
Mhm.
This was now I can't think of the name of the movie. The Edward Furlong movie I did the deep dive on. Mm.
Oh, brain scan. I mean,
This is that bad. That's how bad this film is. I do not recommend, not even for fun. If you want to see Robert Patrick's look, just look at screen caps from the film. Or if anybody has cleverly edited it to just show the best moments, which will be 5 minutes long, then watch that, but don't watch this. This is shitty.
yeah,
Th
it's in need of a reboot, but just a better one than this crap.
Yeah, I'd rather them work on a reboot of this for, like, a Netflix or streaming channel. Is there any trivia you have, on this film?
Well, I know one of the producers went on to do Transformers.
Of course, showing of source material. What source material? Who said we have to stay faithful? So I guess that ends our time, at least with this film and the deep dive. Because trust me, the pressure's on and it's mighty funky up in there. With
And we
this film.
generally put people in the hospital with laughter.
Yes, but this is horrible. I'm so I can see why No offense to him, but I could see why Scott Wolf at the time did not go on to a big screen career. But luckily, Mark Dacascos, this was just a drop in the bucket at the time. So
Literally a drop in the bucket.
one that hopefully he's trying to put a cover on, but never could. So, it's like it got better for him after this, thankfully. So yeah, even Alyssa Milano is probably embarrassed by this film. And she doesn't have that many big screen movies. So that ends this episode in the deep dive. We'll see you on shore, land lovers, until we come back down to the deep dive, and hopefully with better company.
If you like this review, please be sure to like and hit subscribe to be alerted to new episodes in the future.